That might be possible. I would need to get in and probably play with the filters a little bit and see if we can narrow that down for you. It's something that I'm not sure of right off at the top of my head, but I would definitely give us a call and we can see if we can get that figured out for you. Can you use a custom field for a barcode? No. The barcode field is specifically designed to read from the barcode scanner, so we can name a custom field barcode, but it's just going to be a custom field that's named barcode. I hope that makes sense. It wouldn't allow us to like scan something from that and then have it automatically applied to an invoice or any type of transaction. It would have to be the barcode field specifically for that. All right. Can QuickBooks use the barcodes that the manufacturers use on their boxes? Yes. This is where we would need to probably create like an Excel sheet or something like that. One column on the Excel sheet would need the item name or item number, and then the next column would need to be whatever that barcode that's listed on the box. And then what we can do with that is then we could then import it into QuickBooks, and it will associate the barcode from the box that we've had in the Excel with the product in QuickBooks. And then whenever we scan the barcode on the box, QuickBooks recognizes that it's part of this item and will automatically add it. We have GS1 barcode on our items already, so can we convert them by file? Again, we might want to call in about that one. I'm not sure. We would definitely want to take a closer look. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to the next feature. Mobile inventory barcode scanning, sales and sales order workflow. So we're going to kind of loop this in with our next feature as well, which is site operations. So with QuickBooks Enterprise 2018, they implemented a feature that allows us to use a wireless MC40 scanner to scan inventory items from the back when they're being picked. And we'll kind of talk about it. We'll go through it a little bit and kind of show you how it works. This will also be included in the site operations tab, where we actually turn on this feature, and then this is also where we do the pairing for the MC40 scanner or Android device. Keep in mind with the MC40 scanner, it is a scanner. It is the only scanner that is supported by Intuit at this time. However, we can use an Android system or Android device. So if you have a Samsung Android device or any type of phone with Android on it, we can install the QuickBooks Warehouse application. The only difference will be on the MC40 scanner, we can actually use the scanning functionality. If we use a different Android device, we would have to manually enter the quantity that's being picked, just the quantity. So if we needed to pick 15 of something, we would have to go enter it as 15 instead of being able to scan it 15 times or something like that. So we'll take a look at it. So the first thing we're going to look at is the integration of the MC40 scanner and just how that is set up. So if we come to Edit, Preferences, and again if we come to Company Preferences and then Advanced Inventory Settings, and we come to the very final tab for Site Operations, we can see that we have the Sales Order Fulfillment sheet turned on, but we do not have any devices. So what we can do is we can hit Add. We get this screen pop up that shows a 6-digit number to be able to pair it to our device. So what we'll do is we'll get our device. And we'll kind of show how this works. So we're going to go ahead and turn on our webcam. It looks like we might be having some technical difficulties with that. Give us just a second, we'll get this fixed. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to go through the pairing process. We're going to kind of show you what it looks like on the MC40 scanner and then exactly what you can expect to see. Let's see if that takes care of it. All right, let's take a look. There we go. We can see now. All right. So as you can see, we have our MC40 scanner here. We can see this is the home screen for whenever we first launched the application. It wants to know, oh, let's back off there just a little bit. So this is just how it looks. We would click on the application. Whenever we launch it, this is the first thing we see. Whoop, there we go. Welcome to QuickBooks Desktop Warehouse. Let's get started. So we would click the blue link down at the bottom. And then what it's going to do is it's going to ask us, let me take it away for just a second. So what we see is this screen where it asks us to enter the 6-digit code that we can see on the left-hand side, so the 298439. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that real quick. We can see once we enter that and then hit done, it will try to sync over. Then on our QuickBooks side, we can see a pop-up that says device name MC40 with device ID is trying to link to your QuickBooks company file. Do you wish to allow this? So what we're going to do is select yes. And then once it does that, we get on the scanner itself, success. We have paired. So then if we hit done, we can see that it will automatically pull in all of our pickers that we have assigned to be pickers. And we'll kind of go through the setup process for those. So we'll go ahead and set that down. All right, so once we get it paired, we need to set up who is actually doing the picking in the warehouses. So we'll close that. We'll go over here, we'll close this, and we'll close this. So to be able to set up the pickers, they have to be set up as vendors. It's a pretty unusual workflow, but it works. So if we come to our vendor in our vendor center, we can see that we have our warehouse 1 and our warehouse 2 vendors. Some people would probably want to name their pickers by the actual employee name. Some people might want to call their pickers by the site name, something like that. That way they know who's picking what. So what we would want to do is if we were adding a brand new picker, we would just right click, go to new vendor. We'll just type in a name. So we'll say that I'm going to be the picker. And what we would want to do to designate that this is a picker and not a vendor, we come down to additional info, and underneath vendor type, we can see that we have a new vendor type that is automatically created whenever we turn this feature on, and it's called the warehouse user. And what this does is this is what associates that this person is a picker and not a vendor, even though they still display on the vendor side and on the vendor list elements. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. And then what that's going to do is now we can see here that Kyle Picker is activated in the vendors, but underneath the vendor type, we have the warehouse user type, and this will sync across. Now, the one thing that I have noticed while working with this and testing it is that if we make a change to any of our pickers' names, if we delete pickers, if we add pickers, different things like that, it's not actually going to update on our mobile device or our scanner until we push the next sales order through. So it would look like that you hadn't done anything to your picker list until we actually create a sales order. And we'll go ahead and go through that. So if we come to customers, we come to create a sales order, we'll pick a vendor. We'll add a couple items. We'll say that we're going to be picking these from warehouse 2. And what this pop-up is telling us is since we chose warehouse 2 for the first site, it wants to assign that specific site for every line item on this transaction. That's fine. We'll go ahead and say yes. So then we can see that the next line item is selected to be warehouse 2 as well. If we needed to create a sales order, but we needed to pick from different locations, we could select no, and then we could just come in and manually add the different locations that we're picking from. Whenever this feature is also turned on, we get 2 additional columns here to the right. We can see that we have a picked status and a picked quantity. So these fields are not editable, meaning that we cannot click into them, we cannot change them. They're just there for display purposes only. So we'll go ahead and we'll hit save. And again, we get the serial number pop-up warning. We'll go ahead and hit OK, and we'll just hit save again. We can see that once the transaction is saved, we get our pick status of open and our picked quantity currently of 0. Don't know if I actually put in a quantity, so let's do that real quick. Again, we get the warning messages for the serial numbers, and we'll go ahead and hit save. And then we'll go ahead and select yes, we do want to save this transaction. So now we have our items ordered. What we can do is then we can go to our new feature, which is under customers, and then the sales order fulfillment worksheet. And then here we can see all of our available sales orders that have gone out. We can see the status of those orders here, so we can see if they're picked, sent for pick, or if they're open. We can narrow this down by the site that it was sent to, by the status. So if we only want to look for things that are not picked, we can filter down by that, or we can do open. Or if it's fulfillable or not, we can filter by that as well. So currently we'll search by open. We can see the on-deck sales order that we just created, so we'll go ahead and select it, and then we'll hit next. The next screen will show us all of the items that are to be picked on that sales order. So here we can see the items, how many were ordered, how many are open, the availability, and the status, so we can see that they're open. Then we can see over here, it'll tell us if this is even possible. So if it's not possible to even be fulfilled from this location, this would say no. But it's not a hard stop. It would still allow us to continue. So we'll go ahead and hit next. We can either use the default pick list name or we can change it. We can say who is going to be picking this item, and then we can add additional notes. And then all we would need to do is click create and send. Then we get a pop-up that says success, pick list created, you can now begin picking. So we'll hit OK. And then we get an update here that says pick list created. So if we close that, this, and this, and then we'll come back to our scanner. Let's go ahead and turn our camera back on here. And we can adjust this camera if we need to. You can drag it around or move it or widen it. So we can see that we have our vendors currently here. So we'll go ahead and choose the warehouse one. We can see that we have our ship overnight pick list that we just sent, and then we have a ship on deck ASAP that we just created and it synced over. So if we select that one, we can see that we have the items to be picked. So we have our widget 1 and our widget 2. So if we select our first item, we can see this is where the scanning functionality for this would come in. So we could simply just start scanning our inventory and this count would start going up. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and manually enter it. So if we enter 2, it says that we have too many. That's because we have 20. It will automatically keep the 0. We can move it over and then we can just backspace it out. And it's selecting 2. It looks like we only had 1 on there though, so we'll go ahead and back that off and do 1. Oh, now we have 10. Let me go ahead and fix that for us. So then we have our item of 1. We can pick this, so then we would just click the green button to say pick. It'll say, are you sure that we've completed this? And we'll say yes, so we'll just say complete. And then yes. So once we pick our first quantity, we can see that now only the second item is listed. So if we select our second item, if it'll do it for us. Let me grab this real quick for us. There we go. So it's going to go ahead and it's going to sync our data for our first pick. And then it's going to say, good job, we've completed the pick. So then we'll go ahead and stop this. And if we come back to our sales order, and then if we come back to customers, sales order fulfillment worksheet, we can see that our on deck was sent for pick. If we go to our pick list, we can see that the on deck was partially picked. So we picked the first item, but we didn't pick the second. I'm not sure why it did that. Let me take a look. So it looks like it's not coming through like it should. We'll take a look at that here in a minute. But if we wanted to, we could go ahead and complete this. So if we go to update sales order, the sales order wasn't updated because there were some issues. Click to open the pick list item and view the issue. So if we hit OK, it'll say that this item wasn't picked because we didn't assign a serial number to it. And there's no serial numbers located in this specific site. So we'll just hit OK. And then we can see here that it will tell us any issues that it has with this item. But we can come down here and we can change the quantity picked here as well. Then if we go to update sales order, it'll still say, hey, we get that error message about the serial numbers, but we can go ahead and override and just say yes. And then it'll say success, we have updated the sales order. So we go okay, and then we can see that the updated sales order was complete, and now we can come down here and we can close this out. So now our sales order says sent for pick. So if we back up and refresh it and come back to it, we can see that the sales order has been updated to picked. Our picked status here is now picked, and our picked quantity is still 1. And then if we wanted to, we could simply just create an invoice directly off of this. And since we've picked the whole thing, we can create an invoice for the entire sales order. Or if we weren't able to pick all of the items, we can select what items we want to invoice off of this sales order. So if we select all of them, we hit OK. Again, this is where I was talking earlier about all the warning pop-ups for serial numbers. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. And then we get the invoice screen here, and then we can simply go ahead and invoice our customer off of that pick list. All right, let's take a look and see if we have any questions. Are there plans to bring iPhone compatibility for mobile barcode scanning? It's something that I know that Intuit is definitely thinking about. Right now, Android is the only system that they are interested in. It's not actually the Apple system. I know that they do plan on getting there. It's just going to take some developing and a little bit more time. I don't have an ETA of when that's going to be, but I know that they are interested in getting it to the iOS platform. Just currently, it is only on the Android platform. I'm going to take a look. Does the scanner come with upgrading the program plan, or can it be sought separately or by an outside company source? So the MC40 scanner does not come with it. It does need to be purchased outside, but there are lots of retailers out there. We are one of them. We can help you get it. We can sell it to you. We're an authorized reseller for these MC40 scanners. So if you need one, definitely give us a call. We have special pricing on them as well. Let's see what else we got. Is there a list of scanner devices that will work with QB Advanced Inventory System? I'm not sure, not that I have seen. As far as scanners go, what I know, just integrating with the advanced inventory of just a regular scanner, The more basic, the better, but that doesn't mean that some of the bigger and fancier ones won't work. It's just they tend to cause unexpected results. Like if we scan something, it might double click or it might enter twice or something like that. I know that there is a full list. I'll look that up and I'll get that to you. How many pickers at each location can you have? So how many scanners can be at each location? You can have as many pickers at as many different locations as you want. There's not a set finite like hard cap essentially. There's no cap. As far as scanners go, I haven't been able to see if there is a maximum number of scanners. I have had up to 10 different devices connected at one time without any issue. So I would think that there wouldn't be necessarily a cap on the amount of scanners that you can have either. Let's see. Can you create a system without using the sales order function? We cannot use the new system, so the inventory fulfillment worksheet, without first creating a sales order. We do have to create a sales order, and then we can use the new inventory management worksheet. Just a moment. Can we use this just for inventory at the year end, or once implemented, do we need to use it fully? We can use it for just one time a year. It is a system that is designed more for the full functionality and for full use though. So I'm not sure if it would be worth it to just use it for the end of the year, but if you think that it's something that your company might like or something that your company might want to do, go ahead and give us a call. We'll talk to you a little bit more in depth about it and figure out if that would be a good business fit for you guys. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. And again, keep submitting your questions. We'll try and answer them all. We might not be able to get to them all, but if you have any questions or anything, go ahead and give us a call or go ahead and email us, and we'll be more than happy to try to answer your questions. All right, so we're going to go on to the next thing. And this doesn't really have anything to do with advanced inventory, but we had so many requests from our last webinar and so much feedback that everybody really enjoyed the keyboard shortcuts that we thought that we would go ahead and include it into this one. So the QuickBooks keyboard shortcuts can really save a lot of time if you know them, and you can be able to use them very efficiently. So this is by no means a full list of all of the keyboard shortcuts within QuickBooks. This is just a most useful list of most of the keyboard shortcuts within QuickBooks. So Control plus W, easy, just you can immediately get to the right check screen. Control Q for a quick report, Control Y for the transaction journal. That's a pretty big one that a lot of people like to use. So if we're looking at a transaction even like this one, and if we save it, and then if we hit Control Y, we can immediately go to the transaction journal so we can see what accounts are being affected, and then we can see exactly what's being debited and credited within that transaction. Control Y is a very, very good keyboard shortcut, and it's really you're able to quickly identify exactly what accounts are being debited and credited. We also have Control A. That's a really popular one that just immediately brings up our chart of accounts without having to go anywhere. The Create Invoices for Control I, another really good one. Control L will open a list, so we'll combine two keyboard shortcuts and I'll kind of show you how this one works. So if we come here and if we click Control W for the right check screen, like so, and then if we click into the paid to the order of and we hit Control L, this is how we can see our master names list. So we can see every single name that's in there. It'll be customers, jobs, vendors, other names, employees, everything. So if we wanted to make sure we didn't have any duplicates or anything like that, or maybe we need to resort our lists, we can simply come here and then we can do that as well just by clicking the name and resort list. This will put the list back into alphanumeric order. And then just a couple other quick ones. Control R will bring up the register, and then the F keys, F1 for QuickBooks Help, F2 for the product information screen. That's probably one we've all seen a couple times. So if we hit F2, this will bring up the product information page where we get a lot of just an overshot of our company file and where it currently sits. And then if we have this F2 screen open, and if we hit F3, we get the tech help screen. Now, this is something that I'm very familiar with, working with technical support. This allows us to see a lot of the background things that are going on with QuickBooks and helps identify maybe some unexpected results that are happening. We get a lot of log files that we can look at. We get a lot of information just about what's currently connected to QuickBooks and things like that. So we'll go ahead and we'll leave the keyboard shortcuts pulled up here, and we'll answer a few more questions. Are there any other features besides the EIR that can't be turned off using advanced inventory? There are a couple other features. Multi-currency is another one. It doesn't really pertain to advanced inventory, but it is one of those features that once we turn on multi-currency, we cannot turn it back off. And there's a couple others. If you want a full list, feel free to email us. Be happy to give you a full list of those features. Can we use barcodes for inventory counts? I assume what we're talking about here is if we can scan a barcode several times to get our counts, or if we can do things like that. With barcode scanning, we do have to be clicked into the field we want to scan the barcode. So if we were in an invoice, to be able to use it, we couldn't just start a new invoice, add the vendor, and then immediately start scanning. Let me get rid of that real quick. So we would have to actually click into the item code here and then scan. And then once we were done with that, we would need to go into the next one and then scan, and so on and so on. So I'm not sure if inventory counting is something that you'd really want to do with that feature or not. It's definitely something that you can. It's a very much more point and click. So we need to be inside of the field that we're scanning the barcode into. Good question though. Yes, yeah, we'll make sure that everybody can get a copy of the list for the keyboard shortcuts. Definitely. What scanners can be used to do the year-end count and get a discrepancy report? Let's see. What scanner? I think most scanners are pretty universal when it comes to QuickBooks. The only scanner that is supported for the inventory fulfillment worksheet is the MC40. Other than that, pretty much all scanners work for the system. We'll go ahead and pull the keyboard shortcuts. We got a time for maybe just a couple more questions. How to punch in multiple serial numbers in a bill. Can't put using like a comma. Got you. So I think the question is how do we enter multiple serial numbers in a bill efficiently? And the way that we can do that is if we come to vendors, and if we go to enter bills, then we'll go ahead and choose our vendor. And then we'll go ahead and add our item. Then if we were adding a quantity here, no. If we add a quantity, over here we can see the site that we want to add it to, and then this is our serial number field. So here I think is what we're talking about. You had mentioned the comma, so yeah, we can enter our serial number here and then hit a comma, enter our serial number again, comma. If we don't like that, we can do the quick view for serial numbers that pops up here with a little triangle next to it. Here we can enter our serial numbers directly, and then we can just use the down arrow keys to enter them over and over again. And then once we have all of our serial numbers entered, we can simply hit OK. We can see here that it keeps a running count, and we can hit OK, and then it'll automatically add all of those serial numbers here that we added. So that's a quick and more efficient way than trying to put them in with the comma. Also, if we wanted to scan serial numbers, we could bring this up, put it here, scan, and then it'll start auto scanning down those serial numbers for the items that we're bringing in. Great question. All right, let me take, I think we got time for one more. Just a moment, getting it pulled up here. Yes, that is the exact same in lot numbers as well. It's very similar. if we have inventory in our shop with a hand scanner out there and use a spreadsheet, how do we sync the inventory counts with what is in QBS to keep the inventory count as live as possible? We would need to do an inventory adjustment. So if we had a count in a spreadsheet, what we can do is we can come into our inventory and we can do adjust quantity value on hand. This is also how we can adjust our serial numbers. I know we're going over a little bit on time. We're almost done. It's only going to be about another minute or two. So what we can do is we can adjust our quantity, we can adjust total value, or we can adjust quantity and total value. Or if we do have serial numbers, this is where we can actually adjust our serial numbers as well by just putting in the item. And then we can remove serial numbers or add serial numbers in these columns here. This is also how we would get our counts correct if we wanted to change our quantity. Let me back this up. So if we come back into inventory, we go to adjust quantity value, we can come down to quantity and we can adjust our quantity here so that our quantities within QuickBooks will match what our counts are in the warehouse. That's probably going to do it for today. I know that we didn't get to all of the questions. I will try and get these answered and get you guys emailed. I just want to thank everybody for coming out. If you need anything, you can call our main line at 503-885-0776. You can email us at qbadvisors@ebsassociates.com. Or if you want something directly from me, or if you need additional information and you think I'd be the perfect person to help you out, go ahead and give me a call. My direct line is 503-213-1358, or always feel free to email me at kyle.robles@ebsassociates.com, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you guys may have, or if you need some help, workflow, accounting, anything, tech issues, problems, always feel free to reach out to us. I want to thank everybody for coming out, and everybody have a wonderful day and a great weekend. Thank you so much.